Don't worry, I've been through this before. I can consume an entire refrigerator and survive. Before Kyle had a chance to react, a figure burst through the roof and blocked Rachel's attack. It was a middle-aged woman in a bug-shaped mask. Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely, withering away. Kyle withered successfully and died. Ending number 1. We're so good at this game we already hit the first ending. Kyle is now a ghost. This does not relieve him of his responsibilities. Get out of bed anyways. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom. Well, we're not going to scavenge. What does a ghost need tools for? Exit bedroom to hallway. We're going to go haunt some people. Kyle walked into the small hallway that connects the rooms of his apartment together. I'm bored. Leave apartment. Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him. Is it downstairs neighbor? Sorry about all the noise. It's just, your mom was over last night. Kyle approached his downstairs neighbor door and knocked. More? A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door. She looked at Kyle expectantly. I would too if a ghost rang my doorbell. Greet and start conversation. Good morning, neighbor, said Kyle cheerfully. Gabby looked at Kyle expectantly. Gabby needs to have less expectations. Go ahead, Gabby. Use your big boy words. Gabby, asked Kyle, tell me about yourself. I don't really want to know. I just want to progress the story. Gabby stiffened. Oh, you know, she said, putting on a fake smile. I just sit around here. That does sound like Gabby. I don't get around much. I sure do. Never go out at night. I just stay here. Right here. Gabby glared at Kyle. Convinced by Gabby's statement, Kyle bid her goodbye and returned to the street. That was very plot moving. Kyle walked back out onto the road, waiting to get hit by a car so he can be a double ghost. Go to the tech store. Kyle walked into the clean, white tech store. He was greeted by Techno Jim, an elaborate cutout mascot with flashing lights. We're gonna steal Techno Jim. That's not even a question. Is that only our first felony so far? Probably only took a minute and a half. Not bad overall, but we've been better. Does this mean I'm a ghost? Quickly, before the attendant could acknowledge him, Kyle grabbed Techno Jim by the shoulders. You can steal stuff after the attendant acknowledges you. It doesn't really make a difference. Finding that Techno Jim's cardboard feet were bolted to the ground, Kyle started to pull upwards forcefully. After several tugs, Techno Jim broke free, leaving one foot and one leg behind. Kyle glanced at the attendant, who was staring, bewildered, and ran outside. Yeah, he probably doesn't get paid enough to care. Do we have half a thing now? I guess we're collecting stuff. Guess back to the apartment it is. Don't really have a choice. Kyle walked into the small hallway and checked locked door. Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway in his own apartment that he apparently doesn't know about, but quickly found that the door was locked from the inside. Float through his ghost. It's meant to be. Kyle used his ghostly powers to walk straight through the door. I knew that was going to come in handy. Kyle found himself in the room. He stashed his various items sent to him by his fans. Yes, we have a sewing machine, and no, we don't need to talk about it. Kyle walked over to the dilapidated sewing machine. Its box was only half removed. Okay, I guess I'll go back to the hallway. Probably need some extra parts for the sewing machine. Maybe we could sew Techno Jim back together. Though I was never really a big fan of him. Back to the bedroom or going to bed. Open the closet? Maybe we've got some skeletons in there. Kyle opened the closet. It was dark and he could really only see his hanging shirts. Even an ugly ghost needs a nice outfit. Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is. Wouldn't this be the weirdest thing ever? A ghost covered in a suit of armor. No one can defeat that. Kyle was unsure of what exactly caused him to decide to wear his armor, but it felt like the right thing to do. When the voices are right, the voices are right. Nothing? Kyle hurried to the set. Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost before he arrived. Well, that's convenient. Now I'm just an idiot in a suit of armor. This is falling apart quickly. Sitting across from his host was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. I'm not sure I've ever actually said that word before. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Approach Rachel and hit her with your gauntleted hand. Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Yeah, about that. We're actually going to interview Techno Jim instead. Kyle roughly shoved Rachel out of her seat and placed Techno Jim in her stead. That's more like it. Hello, Techno Jim. I'm going to interview you today. Hope you don't mind my armor. I didn't have a lot of time to pick out my outfit this morning. Kyle grasped Techno Jim's hand and tried to shake it, but instead tore it off the cardboard frame. Way to lose a hand, idiot. Kyle's producer, sensing viral media, pulled the bewildered Rachel out of frame and motioned to the crew to go live. Cameramen moved, lights flashed, and suddenly the studio was on air. Hi, I'm Kyle. And tonight, I'm going to interview a very special guest. He pointed at Techno Jim using a dismembered arm. Techno Jim started to smoke from the heat of the lights. Alright, if I'm going down, I'm taking everyone with me. Would you like to introduce yourself? Knowing the cardboard thing sitting across from me probably wouldn't speak, Kyle took it upon himself to be his voice as well. Hi Kyle, he said, raising a pitch of his voice. My name is Rachel May, and I'm a very special guest. Rachel's expression of confusion turned into shock. Don't worry, Rachel, this is a better version of you. Well, Rachel, you look way too thin and absolutely terrible, and you should feel ugly. No, you shouldn't feel ugly, you are ugly. Kyle gave Jim a meaningful stare. Well, Kyle, he said, I sure wish I could look like you. This one gets it. We'll get you a suit of armor and everything. Techno Gym burst into flames. Mission accomplished. Instantaneously, the sprinkler system initiated. Curtains of water poured down from the rafters. Within seconds, the production equipment was doused in water. The set was soon abuzz with electrical fires. Kyle's crew abandoned their posts as cameramen and sound mixers to try and put out the fires. Because that should be their job, not the fire department, not one bit. As the crew scrambled around, the cameras continued to run. Kyle sat motionless, staring forward. Already died once today. Eventually, the fires were all put out. Kyle's producer shut off the broadcast, leaving Kyle's vacant stare as the final frame. Kyle's ratings skyrocketed. This was all a ploy to get even more famous. Techno Jim became a staple on the show. Wasn't he just incinerated? Oh, he gets destroyed every episode. I could live with that. Although Rachel did not come back on a show, her cardboard betrayal did. Rachel was very popular. And about 4 times as smart. Kyle interviewed Rachel, ending unlocked 1 of 21. Okay, so we can do it again, this time maybe without Techno Gym or becoming a ghost. Kyle's first decision in the morning was made wisely. Exit the bed, we're not going to be a ghost, we're going to scavenge today. Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for bugs. Eat the bugs. Kyle started to pick the fuzz out of his bedroom carpet, hoping to catch a stray beetle or two. Good. Soon he had a small handful of various insects to eat immediately. Kyle threw back his head and crammed the sticky, wriggling mass into his mouth. He felt refreshed. Gotta have some protein in the morning. Bit of a crunch. Can we find more bugs? Oh, I was really hoping we could find more bugs. Gossip it is. Kyle firmly pressed his ear into the carpet, hoping to hear some stray words from the neighbors below. What was her name again? She doesn't get out much. Heard Rachel May is going on a trip out of the country. Tell me more. This is riveting stuff. I do not regret this option at all. What will I tell you? Every night I don a mask that looks like a bug and fight misdoers. There was a stunned silence, because nobody cared to hear what this lady had to say. They were shocked she was still talking. Then a door opened and someone exited the neighbor's apartment. That's enough. Yes, that's definitely enough. Today we're gonna wear something different like skunk pasties. Not really sure what these are or how to picture them, but we kind of got our little notes up top. Getting the slimy garments to stay proved difficult, so Kyle opted to stick them to his body with hot glue. That's a very logical choice. I'm so glad I'm smart. At a desk. Kyle opened up the side drawer on his desk and grabbed one of the items stored here, which was a small key. And then we're going to take this key out into the hallway, or the locked door that we ghosted through, but we're going to do it with the key. Force the door open to forehead. The key doesn't work, so we're going to use our head. Kyle decided it would be best to try to force the door open with the use of his face. After smashing his features into solid wood for several minutes, Kyle gained severe short-term amnesia. That sounds helpful. Oh, we should do the interview now. How do we get out of here? Leave? Is a downstairs neighbor. We won't remember who she is or what she does. Start the conversation. More. And I guess we're just, bye. Good evening, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Kyle responded. Forgot her name from amnesia. Hello, you? Kyle's ears began to ring from his concussion. Before she noticed a glazed look in Kyle's eyes, the producer approached. Let me get started, he said, putting a hand on Kyle's shoulder. Let's get stationed. Don't touch me. Kyle sat in the nearest chair. Rachel, her seat stolen, sat in the host chair. It's okay to trade once in a while. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and cameras clicked on. Start the broadcast. Good morning, everyone, said Kyle. My name is, right there in the name of the game. Kyle made a desperate effort to remember his name, or really anything. Kyle looked at Rachel and immediately regretted it. You know who I am? He asked. Rachel looked back confused. Who are you? Well, if you're not Kyle, I don't know who you are. Rachel smiled sweetly. Good answer. Kyle made up his mind that he was probably Kyle. Well, he said, I'm Kyle. A long silence followed. And I'm Rachel. Hi, everyone. Wow, we're just as smart as each other, but I have a concussion. Hi, Rachel, said Kyle. Why are you here? Rachel was visibly worried. Most people are when they're sitting in a room with me. Funny, she said. Were you planning on asking me any questions? Only one. If you're willing to spend the rest of your life with me. I mean, I don't have any ideas, said Kyle. Just tell me about yourself. Kyle kept staring at Rachel. Someone coughed. Kyle looked around and noticed the crew. Who on earth are all of you? He asked. Nobody answered. Kyle got out of his chair and walked off frame, leaving Rachel alone with millions of viewers. Rachel started to attempt to entertain the audience herself. I don't really think it's her problem. It sounds like it's probably my show. She could just be like, sorry, he's gone crazy again. Eventually, the producer ended the broadcast early due to technical issues. There's technically something wrong with my brain. Kyle woke up in his bed the next day, remembering nothing about what had happened. The end. Kyle forgot everything. Relatable, am I right? You know what would be amazing? If we could get an actual X going across there. It wouldn't be a very nice X, but if we actually got lucky enough to do that. Again, we're not going to be a ghost. We are going to change our outfit into a slick suit. Kyle miraculously crammed his dumpy body into the suit. The chest pockets were filled with random knickknacks. The only question now is, do we need a handful of bugs to start our day, or can we find breakfast elsewhere? Let's go into the kitchen for once. I don't think we've been there yet. What's in the fridge? Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat. Eat the fridge. Eat the whole fridge. Kyle pointed his neck directly upwards and hoisted the fridge on top of his face. Somehow, miraculously, he wrapped his mouth around the device he started to swallow. In one slow, horrible movement, the fridge slid down Kyle's throat. I like how this is an option. After many gurgles, pops, and stabs, Kyle felt relatively sure the fridge would not come back out. Well, that was a good breakfast. Back to the hallway. I think we're ready for our interview now. Can we just go do that? Let's kill some time at the tech store. But instead of stealing Jim, we're going to ask attendant for free samples. And we're probably going to do that for the next 13 hours because I'm bored. Kyle asked the store attendant whether or not they offered any free samples to important customers. I am wearing a nice suit. The attendant gave Kyle a confused and slightly vacant look. Kyle began to beg for a free sample. That's all I got in life. I gotta hold on to these things. Wanting Kyle to leave, the attendant grabbed the decrepit phone meant for spare parts and held it out. Grab with teeth. This is a game where we're just gonna do everything with our mouth. Hungry? Eat the whole fridge. Put that in your mouth. Handful of bugs? Phones for you? Nope, it's going in my mouth. Kyle firmly clamped his mouth around the outstretched phone, creating several teeth holes in the screen. Kyle grunted and yanked with his head until the attendant let go of the phone. The phone is now Kyle's to use forever. Forever? Well, obviously the only thing left to do now is give Review a free sample. This phone, said Kyle, is several years old and has exposed wires coming out of the back. Very dangerous to put in someone's mouth. Kyle continued, the phone had also screen issues after I used it to hammer nails into the wall for a painting. Furthermore, when I submerge it in water, I get severely shocked until it runs out of battery. The attendant looked at Kyle, pursed his lips, and said nothing. Would you say anything to the guy who just bit the phone? Feeling he has made his argument, Kyle decided to leave. We didn't make an argument, we won an argument. Doesn't even matter what it was or who it was with, we won. Back to bedroom. I'm ready for my interview now. Am I bringing the phone? All said and done. He's happy to be here, so we're gonna scream and spin in circles? Yeah, we're gonna Tom Cruise this. Kyle started to stretch out his arms wide, tilted his head upwards, and is the fridge coming out?
Nope.
Was interrupted by his producer telling him it was Rachel and that it was time to start the show. Good evening, blah blah blah, welcome to the show, introduced Rachel. Kyle vomited all of the horrible things he had eaten earlier onto the floor. Rachel looked at Kyle, concerned, gave a couple coughs, kept it cool. Kyle stopped, vomited again, then continued with a shaky voice. Tonight I have the pleasure of some idiot who's mostly just here to watch my antics. Hello Kyle, I'm glad to be here. You won't be for long. I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss, might as well dive right in. Very ready. In a shock, Kyle realized he'd never bothered to prepare any notes. I was too busy putting things in my mouth hole and play dead. Kyle slumped in his seat and played dead. Kyle, what are you up to? Yeah, dying. Don't worry too much. Why are you pretending to be dead? I can see you breathing. Kyle held his breath. The producer whispered, give him a few slaps, see if he wakes up. Usually works. Kyle got up from her chair, walked to Kyle, and slapped him firmly across the face. Other members of the crew stepped into frame to start slapping Kyle as well. Soon, Kyle was lost in the amassment of people around him, slapping him in the face with both hands. Slapping went on for many hours. Kyle did not wake up. Eventually, Kyle did not need to pretend to be unconscious. Kyle prepared by dying. Damn it, I screwed up my X. I've got a good plan this time. Oh, we have our new phone option for browsing social media. Anyways, what we're going to do today is nothing. I'm going to walk back and forth until it's interview time. Then we're just going to see how it goes to try and have a normal interview. Introvert simulator. Rachel's smile quickly turned into shock as she realized Kyle had not put on any clothes that day. Well, how am I supposed to know what kind of clothes I wear when I sleep? Kyle waved and smiled broadly. Rachel uncomfortably averted her eyes. Kyle started making his rounds around the room, greeting each crew member, none of whom looked at me. As it became apparent that Kyle had no intention of leaving, Rachel made some excuses and exited the set. One by one, the crew followed suit. Kyle was left all alone. Well, that's lonely. Kyle prepared by being a nudist. So we're learning. Today we're going to sit at the desk and write notes for interview. Every time I try and take this seriously, it gives me a curveball. Kyle wrote down his first question. Is your mother a mother? Kyle wrote down his second question. Ever eaten a raw egg whole? I purposely ran over a puppy. I'm just going to click whatever's here. Are you guilty? And back to desk. Now we need to have a proper outfit to be able to do this. Slick suit it is. Back to room, and now we're going to play the introvert game until interview time. Kyle responded politely. Shake hands. After other mild exchange of pleasantries, Kyle and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast. Oh, we haven't even started yet. Good evening, blah blah blah. Yep, she's here. She's great. In response, Kyle collapsed on the floor. Did I miss something? I clearly read over something good. From a combination of stressful preparation and not eating anything, Kyle passed out. I worked so hard on that. Are we supposed to eat the bugs or the fridge now? There's so many questions. Nobody in the studio knew quite what to do with him. They began to poke Kyle in the back to see if he moved. After a while, they ended the broadcast, shut off the lights, and went home. Kyle was left face first on the floor. Kyle prepared by starving himself. He went 12 hours without eating. I think he's fine. Fine? Fine. We can do everything we need to do in our bedroom in the morning. Start with the bugs. Eat immediately. Would we have saved this for later use? We could have given some to Rachel. She'd probably like that. Sit at a desk. Write notes. And all these ones ever again. And a beautiful slick suit for our outfit. Now what do we do for the rest of the day? Do we eat something else? Might as well check the pantry. What do we got in here? Well, that answers what the key is for. I guess there's social media now. Let's go back to our bedroom and check our phone. Oh, we're not allowed to do that unless it's the morning time. Okay, well, move to kitchen, open the fridge, eat condiments. Kyle started to grab condiments in the fridge, squirting them into his mouth with both hands, a man after my own heart. The rate at which ketchup, soy sauce, and other items entered Kyle's mouth soon overrode his ability to swallow. Oh god, I've overwhelmed him with condiments. Kyle spewed excess condiments across the kitchen, covering the furniture and walls. Kyle hurried to the set. No, we're still good. Okay, here we go. I think I got it right this time. Maybe not. Kyle vomited all the horrible things he had eaten earlier onto the floor. It's probably the bugs. Yeah, we'll keep the show running. No, we're still throwing up. No, we're back on track. Projectile vomit excluded. Kyle produced the notes he had taken earlier. I'm straight up gonna open with, I purposely ran over a puppy. Hey, I ran over a puppy on purpose, said Kyle. Everyone in the studio froze. Kyle spread his hands out wide. It's a joke. He started laughing from the bottom of his stomach. That's a great icebreaker. Nothing to ease that tension like murder. Nobody laughed with Kyle. Several minutes later, he stopped laughing and moved on. Kyle asked another question. Is your mother a mother? And we just start rambling on about mothers. I'm not saying mother that many times. Rachel went to answer and stopped. I believe she said eventually that I should answer yes? Kyle asked another question. Are you guilty? Kyle threw his question on the floor, stood up, and pointed at her. Rachel's eye twitched slightly. Guilty of what, dear Kyle? She smiled disingenuously. Guilty, spat Kyle, of your crimes. Rachel did not answer. Her eyelids both started twitching uncontrollably. Call the police. She's guilty. Hello, police, said Kyle. I believe I've found a criminal. Rachel began to run towards the exit. On her way out, she swatted Kyle's phone out of his hand. Trip her. Rachel stumbled and crashed to the floor. But in a moment, she was on her feet. She drew a blunt weapon seemingly out of thin air and started to swing at Kyle. Don't worry, I've been through this before. I can consume an entire refrigerator and survive. Before Kyle had a chance to react, a figure burst through the roof and blocked Rachel's attack. It was a middle-aged woman in a bug-shaped mask. She was brandishing a bug-shaped stick. It's my neighbor. We learned that from our gossip. The woman began to fight with Rachel, flicking her weapon back and forth with surprising speed. Rachel tried to fight back, but it was obvious she was no match for the bug. With one quick move, the bug vigilante drew her foot high above her head and drove it straight into Rachel's hand. The weapon clattered to the floor. Rachel attempted to run again, but was met with a stick to her legs. She fell at the feet of a police officer just arriving from Kyle's call. Rachel was charged with 7 cases of grand larceny. My notes are always good. After her first month in jail, Rachel started a reality TV show filmed in her cell about prison cooking. Everything's better from jail. The show gained immense popularity, and somehow, the public began to love Rachel all the more. Kyle made guest appearances on Rachel's show many times. The identity of the bug vigilante was never known. It's my neighbor. She lives below me. She remains a mysterious but important part of local law enforcement. The end. Rachel started a new show, 6 of 21. I don't know what I can make with this. There's just no shape anymore.